Hey everyone, Mr. Strider here. So today we're back with another math tutorial. So what we're trying to solve here today is we want to simplify this expression. So we have a couple things going on here. We have a root symbol, we have some variables inside. So if we want to simplify this, we're going to have to break this up into two roots. Well, since I have some variables involved, I need to pay attention to the index number. But there's no index number here. But since there's no index number, we're going to assume that the index is 2 or a square root symbol. And the reason being is the square root is the most common root symbol, so that is why we don't write the 2 there, because it just gets a little repetitive. So I know that my index is 2, which means my exponents of my variables here need to be multiples of 2. So the way I'm going to start this off is what's here on the outside, the 5y to the third. That's just going to stay 5y to the third for right now. And I'm going to break this up into two separate root symbols. One that involves my perfect squares and one that's going to involve my non-perfect squares. Well, we're going to ask ourselves, is 125 a perfect square? Well, the answer is no. 100 is, but 125 is not. So we need to think, well, what is the biggest perfect square that'll go into 125? Well, I can start dividing 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36 into it. But the biggest perfect square is going to be 25. So I'm going to write my perfect square of 25 here. Well, how do I get back to 125? 25 times what? Well, 25 times 5 is going to get us back to the 125. So this is my perfect square. This is my non-perfect square. And I'm going to move on to the variables. Well, is 2 a multiple of 2? I'm sorry. Yes. Is 2 a multiple of 2? Yes. Well, that means that x squared can go right there because 2 is a multiple of 2. Now, when it comes to y to the third here, well, 3 is not a multiple of 2, which means I need to take one y away from it and make it y squared, because 2, again, is a multiple of 2. Well, that means I have one y left over, and that's why it comes over here. So now I have all this extra space, and I'll cut off my root symbol there. So now this is perfect squares, which we can simplify here in a second, and this is our non-perfect squares. Well, the 5y to the third is still going to be right there. The square root of 25 is 5. The square root of x squared is x, or what we're doing is we're taking the 2 and dividing it by the index, which is 2, in order to get 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1, or 1x. Well, same thing with the y squared, 2 divided by 2, we're going to have 1y left over there. And then we still have our square root of 5y at the end. Now we're almost done. We just need to simplify this left side here. Well, 5 times 5, and the reason I can do 5 times 5 is because multiplication, the order doesn't matter. So 5 times 5 is going to give me 25, and then I'm going to have my x, and then I have y to the third times y, or y to the first. Well, remember, when we multiply same base, we're just going to add their exponents. So y to the third times y to the first is going to be y to the fourth. And we're still going to have our square root of 5y left at the end.